Hi everyone, welcome to The Grind and Happy New Year!
Happy New Year, everyone! Yay!
Can't believe it's 2024 and pretty soon it'll be 2025 and then 2026. It's just
Wow.
Time just passes by so fast, to be honest. I just can't believe it's already a year done and dusted.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, you guys do New Year resolutions?
No.
Not really.
But we will try.
Yes.
I mean, if you had to have a New Year resolution, what would it be?
I think for me, year after year, it's the same in the sense that I think, I always feel like I can do better in like my prayer, quiet time life.
Mm-hmm.
So sadly, I feel like year after year is the same thing that I want to get better in, that I feel like I'm still not better at.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna go with the cliche answer of saying like getting to know God better.
Wow.
But I'll just stick to my word for the season that has been like a very long season, which is God is sufficient. I'm trying to practice like getting it in my head that in God I'm sufficient.
Yeah.
That I don't need anything else from anywhere else except God.
Yeah. My resolution is nowhere near spiritual as you guys, because
wow.
I already have a consistent resolution.
Wow. Okay. That's why she's pastor.
Exactly. Oh, sorry, I forgot.
No, besides that, I mean, that's always an ongoing journey. I think the resolution, should I have one, and also part of me also don't believe in resolutions, but anyways, if I were to have one, is to sleep earlier every single day.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is your current sleeping like?
Let's not, shall we? So let's just say it's a resolution that I've been making for the past decade and beyond. So, hence. Anyways, moving on.
Good for you. There you go.
Moving on. Again, if I were to have a resolution, but anyways. So past week we talked about Upper Room Revival. And so we heard about the significance of the Upper Room, how it's a place of prayer, it's a place of preparation, it's a place of revival, and it's a place of power. So, yeah, I think the word revive is, broken down to, it's meant to live, it's meant to make alive, renews our relationship with Jesus and the people of God and the lost. And what's really important to know is that it's not the end goal, it's only the beginning.
Yeah.
So, what are some thoughts that come to your mind when the word revival is mentioned?
I try to come at this. Well, I mean, like, okay, first revival. Well, the first thing is, things coming back to life. First things I think of is like in the media sense and also in the video game sense. But I feel one thing I really enjoyed, one thing I learned from you, Pet, that you did in the previous grinds was like try to see it from the Christian view instead of the worldly view. And so like when I look at this, the word revival means coming back to life. That's in the worldly view. But then I like how the Christian definition is like it's revival that they are made alive to Jesus and God. Like there is that second part that is really important. And yeah, I really like that because it's not just bringing back to life, but it's also a restoration of like identity. I feel it's a restoration of a relationship.
I think I really like when you mentioned revival is not the end goal, only the beginning, because the thoughts that come to mind when the word revival is mentioned for me is more the end goal. It's like, everyone is striving or kind of like running towards, having a revival. It's like, like you gotta do this, and then you'll have a revival. But then when you say it that way, then it's like, wow, I think it's so true that it's not the end goal, and it's just like our walk with God. I think it's like there is. The end is when you die.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not like something where it happens and then that's it. It's only the beginning. Revival is only the beginning. So it's not something you chase after. It's something that you continue to work towards in a way.
Yeah. I think revival cannot be controlled. You can't manufacture revival. It's not like, okay, we'll pray, on this day, and then we expect it to happen, and then yay, and then we'll do this like maybe several times, and then it happens.
Pray 3 days, fast 3 days, sing 3 days. Revival.
Revival comes. Like I feel like you cannot manufacture revival, and I mean you can pursue God and and whatever happens. And but then definitely when people gather, like I think God will move. Like even I think with the Asbury revival that couple like earlier on this year, I don't think they had the idea like, oh, we're gonna want this to happen, but it just happened, and it carried on for so many days. So the effect of the revival, I'm not entirely sure, like because I don't think I've read any follow-up articles about what happened after, but yeah, I think revival can't be manufactured. That's what I think.
Also, as you mentioned the Asbury revival, I'm also reminded about the Jesus movement back in like 1900, late
It's not 1900. It's
80s?
the 80s.
Yeah.
1900s.
Sorry, I don't know why.
Victorian times.
There's a really good movie on Netflix, the Jesus movement, and I feel it really depicts what revival should be like. It's a good movie. They kind of like state like all the present struggles, but also like as you said that it wasn't really like there was no formula to it. It was just simply a hunger for God, and
Yep. So one thing that was also talked about was the 14 signs of revival that Pastor Ed was sharing, but we won't go through all of them. But I think it's maybe I'll just quickly like read them real quick. Like basically it's there's repentance, there's burden for the lost, increasing salvations, passion for prayer, hunger for the word, manifest presence of God, greater generosity towards the work of God, greater frequency of corporate gatherings, increased fellowship, favor the community, increase in calling, greater joy and productivity in personal lives, in children and young people walking in purity. And so those are some of the signs of revival. And I think when we see that happen, we're like, okay, yeah, God is moving. But then there are three questions to consider. So he talked about first step, am I honest? So how is your walk with Jesus on a scale of 1 to 10? Any challenges?
I don't know about you guys, but for me, I think my biggest challenge, it's hard to find time to be alone in a way.
Oh, because you've got a lot at home. you've got a family. You've got two excited children.
Yeah, so I think like for me actually like the time that I kind of feel like I can be quiet is actually when I'm not alone. It's actually when I'm outside.
Right.
Like when I'm outside, whether I'm just like walking somewhere or like when I'm traveling somewhere. I feel like that's where I'm alone. And I just put on my headphones on. Well, no, sorry, not headphones, earphones on, and then put on some worship music. And I think that is when I'm alone. But for me, my biggest distraction is that I feel like there's just so many things happening that I always kind of feel like I'm never alone enough in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I should wake up earlier when the kids are not awake yet, but
that's like at 4 a.m. though.
But I cannot.
It's too hard.
Yeah. So I think that's my challenge. And of course, being consistent is always a challenge for me too.
Yeah.
It's like I can do very well for like a couple months, and then I'm like slowly falling off the wagon, and I'm just gone completely, and then I'm back again.
Yeah.
It's always like that.
They're back again. Hobbit's tailbite. No, okay, anyways.
Yeah, I knew that reference. I didn't want to encourage it, but yeah, here we are. He encouraged himself.
Yeah. I think very similar to Felicia, except different reasons. Same. That at home, when I'm at home, it's really hard for me to. If I was gonna score it, I'll give myself a 7 because I am striving a lot. I do want to see God move, and I'm always like trying to like keep up with him, see what he's doing. But I feel that especially when I'm at home, I'm always occupying myself with other things, whether it's video games or catching up with movies or TV shows or like editing photos, like things that give me joy. And I realized that it's also same that it's in like the transportation where I have no distraction. Even though I have my phone, it's when I have no distractions that I can have like conversations with God. Because I used to live really far away. It would take at least like an hour to get to work, and so I have a long bus ride that allows me to just have zero distractions and just sing, plug in my headphones and just worship music and just like chat with God. Yeah.
Oh, I'll score myself like probably 6.3.
Wow, that point.
I'll change mine to 6.2. No.
And mine is a 10 out. No, just
Oh, the pastor speaking. The pastor speaking.
No, I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm also like somewhat similar to you all. You know, just because I think one of the greatest challenges with my walk with Jesus is balancing ministry and work. In a sense, is it ministry or is it work? Am I being close to Jesus because I have to be close to Jesus? Because if I'm not close to Jesus, how can I do my job as a pastor? So, yeah, I think that has been a challenge for me.
Wow. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, so separating like, you know, that because I think like, you know, when you're working in the corporate world, yes, your job is your job. Then your personal walk with Jesus, you know, is your personal walk with Jesus.
It's nothing to do with work.
Yeah, but the thing is that if you're not doing well in your personal walk with Jesus, it kind of also affects your ability to do your job well here, in a sense. So I think that's been a challenge is, am I maintaining a relationship with Jesus because I have to or because a true desire to? So
No, but that's really interesting because I've always kind of had like an envy of some sort to like people who are like, you know, working as a full-time like minister in a sense that I feel like, wow, you know, it must be so nice because they have to be close to God in a sense, you know, like it's like, but then I never thought of it that way, that, you know, it can get very blurry in the sense that, oh, are you really doing that for, you know, for your job, or are you actually doing that to get close to the Lord?
Yeah, so it's like the balance of relationship or religion.
Yeah,
you know,
it's basically the Mary and Martha scenario.
Yeah.
Whether to sit at his feet or work or serve.
But then honestly though, with that story, like sometimes I feel like Martha gets like the end of the stick. I mean, honestly though, like if she wasn't close to Jesus, she wouldn't be as like, she's like, tell that woman to help me, you know, because if it's like, it's Jesus, like how could I be so rude to him? I mean, not saying that she was rude to him, but I'm saying that she had that closeness with Jesus as well,
to feel that she can say
that, you know,
demand that of him. Like, hello, you, Jesus.
Tell him. But yeah, but anyways, so I mean, Martha also was like wanting to do things with excellence. Anyways, we digress. But yeah, so yeah, that's what I say would be my walk with Jesus. Yeah, so I guess honesty is the first step to revival. It's like, okay, so I mean, all of us would desire to be closer to Jesus. So yeah, we need to be honest with where we're at. The second step to revival is, am I humble?
Wow,
on a scale of 1 to 10. Where's Rico?
I've been more humble.
Very
I would
shocking.
say.
Wow, so humble.
I don't know anybody who is humble.
I know.
Who has said that they are humble.
Wow.
Rico is a 10.
Nope.
Like,
Called out. Wow.
Rico was like 20.
oh, whoa.
Yeah, so yeah.
So humble.
Oh.
So read 2 Chronicles 7:14. How do you apply this personally? Let me read 2 Chronicles. If my people who are called by my name humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and heal their land. Anyways, so let's talk about humility, guys. Are you humble?
Well, definitely not as humble as Rico.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
he's the humblest of them all.
I know. Like, we
Right?
can't compare, we can't compare to Rico.
Rico,
sorry, Rico.
hello. Are you there? Teach us to be humble, please. So
Wow.
humble.
So inspired. Can you tell us where you learned how to be so humble?
Jesus.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, teach us to be like Jesus. Rico. All right, we're done.
Okay.
Is it even possible to say 10? Can
Whoa.
you really? No, I'm not saying for myself. I'm just wondering. Can you
Wow,
really
this-
say
If you
10
are
and be
humble, right? Yeah. I feel like if you answer 10, you probably need to ask. Okay, I think if somebody else gives you a 10, that's a different.
Okay, yeah.
But then if you give yourself a 10, then it's like, are you really humble?
Give yourself a 9.9. Just
Just
put one room for error. No.
I mean, there's also like false humility, right? Like, like, oh no, I'm not the humble. I mean, then this healthy sense of awareness of self. I don't know. It is a kind of like an oxymoron, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. So with that being said, I'm gonna give myself a 7 again. I really like number 7. No, because I think, you know how you say like at the overflow of the heart, the mouth will speak. So I think I have mentioned it in previous grinds that I tend to have a bad habit of judging, and I'm trying to like control that But then most of the
Judgmental people in the grind, man. I'm scared now.
it's like I see something happening, I'm like, what is wrong? No, stop, no. Like
At least he's not very
it's
vocal about
halfway
it.
there. Yeah.
And he
No.
just thinks it.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'm a 6.5. A little bit better in being humble than being, I think,
Honest.
than my walk with God. One thing that I think I am doing though is I try to be very careful. I actually just had a conversation about this, but especially when you're on stage, I feel like that's when things can get to your head.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, like for me specifically, what I do is I know, like, you know, like when we are waiting at the side of the stage before like the worship team come up, or even when like we are already up there standing waiting for the lights to go on, I would just say something like a really short prayer and say that, you know, like, God, remind me that today that you are the audience. You know, I'm not trying to, you know, please any man that is, you know, I mean, of course I'm trying to help the congregation to encounter God also, but I don't want them to be the audience, you know. And I always want to remind myself that every week when I do, no, sorry, not every week, every time I am on worship team, that I need to be cautious of that. And especially when, for me, I feel very, I don't know what's the right word, if scared is even the right word, but like I feel extra cautious when people praise me, because that is, I feel like, when you really have to give all the glory back to God, and that, yeah, remind yourself that why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
I think generally I'm a humble person, so maybe I'm an 8.
Oh,
Give some room for error 9. Yeah. But I would say that my humility varies for different things. Like, yeah, I wouldn't like, for certain things I probably wouldn't be as humble. I think
Like games, competitions.
yeah, exactly that, because I will trash talk you like none other.
oh, will she?
Yeah.
Will she now?
No, I get too competitive. Like, any ounce of humility is thrown out of the window. So,
So you keeping the 8?
yeah, I'm keeping the 8.
Oh, whoa.
I would say overall, again, humble, but for certain things, the humility is out of the window. I mean, I think things that I'm confident that I'm good at, I guess, then I would be less humble. I know not a good thing to say, but that's the reality of it. But humility is important when it comes to seeing revival happen, and that's what I read from 2 Chronicles 7:14. So how would you apply this personally?
I think only when you are humble, you will realize, kind of like, and what is that called? And confess your sins. I feel like if you're not humble, you won't.
See, like, the errors of your ways.
Yes, you'll feel like, oh, everything that you're doing is fine, and that you don't need God, and that you don't need God's forgiveness over your life or His grace over your life. And I feel like it's when you do realize, that's when, because I don't know, but I feel like it's not like God is holding it back on, like holding it back from us, is that we're not receiving it. Is that because when we're not humble, we're not receiving his grace. It's not that He's not giving it to us, in a sense. It's just that we don't realize that we need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we're just so blinded by everything else that we forget about,
Yeah,
you know, who deserves the highest glory.
exactly.
God. So the third step to revival is, am I hungry? How serious are you for personal revival on a scale of 1 to 10?
I think I would give myself a 9. My passion of ministry is really just, thanks to YWAM, is just pushing me out there. Like, I serve in the ICA healing rooms, and like every week on my way there, I always like saying, God, come on, I really want to see miracles happen, because like I just want to see. Most importantly, is that like I want to see people be reconnected to God, and I feel Signs and Wonders is just one of those ways that bridges the gap so quickly. And actually, it's so applicable to what you said about worship, that when I go there, that I need to keep myself in a humble state. I can't say like, oh, I healed him. It's like, no, God used me to heal him. It's still, glory still goes to God. And same thing with ministry. Like, I'm always wanting people like, yes, they believe in God, but I want them to have more than that. I wanted them to be even more deeper, more intimate with God. Like, I've seen how good God is, and I want other people to be able to see him in his true nature, I feel. Because I feel a lot of people, well, okay, I don't mean to offend anyone, but I feel a lot of people they see the surface and they're satisfied with that and they stay there.
Right.
And I want to encourage people that they just go deeper. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say for me, like, being hungry, like, I am hungry for more of God, and you know, maybe like I want to be serious for personal revival. Maybe some of the things I do doesn't indicate that I'm serious. Like, maybe like I need to not procrastinate, you know, or, you know, prioritize my time better. But I think every single time I've seen like God move in my life, I want more of it. But I think maybe like, again, management of time or whatever it is, like, you know, doesn't set me up to cultivate a relationship with God deeper than I expect or I would like. So yeah, I think that's always been an ongoing thing. Oh yeah, I want to grow in intimacy with the Lord, but then it's like sometimes I'll admit that I give him leftover energy. You know, so how am I supposed to cultivate a relationship with God if I don't, you know, give him like my first fruits, you know, like, quote unquote, like for time. So
Yeah.
That's so true. I think like I really relate to every single thing that you just said. I think if I ask myself, am I hungry? I feel like I am. But then if I think about it, you know, if I am physically hungry, I'll do something about it.
yeah.
Right? But then why is it that this hunger that I feel that I have, I feel like I'm not doing something good enough for it in a sense. It's like, oh, I say that I'm hungry. I feel like I'm hungry. But then I don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So am I really hungry?
Yeah. Like during COVID, like with all the time isolation, I mean, you guys had family, I was isolating by myself, and it was just so much space and time. I'm like, this is like the perfect time to get to know God. And I think one thing that I heard a sermon, this pastor said, like, it says, I will not waste this crisis. And I was like, so what does it look like for me to not waste this crisis? So number one was learning how to spend time with myself. Number two was to, you know, spend time with the Lord. And I think gradually as things open up, it's like you kind of forget, you know, then it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like you got to figure out a new way to live after COVID. Things, I guess I would say I operated the same way that I did in 2019. Yeah. But yeah, definitely hungry for revival in my life and in the life of, like, you know, my church and, you know, my family, friends.
Yes.
All right, so one thing that we know is that prayer has always preceded revival. We can't expect revival to happen like this without seeking God's like, yes, I would like a side of revival today, God. And, you know,
If only it was that easy.
Plus mashed potatoes, please.
yeah. Would you like some fries with that? Yeah, no. So it always precedes with prayer, and prayer is something that I constantly need to work on. That continue. I mean, I communicate with God, but then also like need to create more space for Him to speak into to me as well. So, like we heard, as we heard, you know, upper room is, you know, place of prayer. So where is your upper room? And if you need to make any changes this year, like to having that upper room, what would it look like?
For me, I think as me and Dawn mentioned earlier, currently where I feel like I am communicating with God most is during my commute to wherever it is. But I also usually I would usually, because both of my girls, they want their daddy to put them to sleep.
Oh, not you?
Yeah, they're like, no, who are you, mother?
Wow.
It's like, I do not need you.
Wow.
They're like, only daddy, I only want daddy.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's hurtful.
Record this and just like hold this against them in the future. Oh.
Yeah, but I mean, for me, actually, a lot of times I would use that time. So when Jerry put the kids to sleep, that is when I would be like, okay, peace and quiet. Now I can spend some time, read the Bible, and I would usually like watch like a devotional video. But then oftentimes I feel like I would also get distracted by like all the things that I need to finish while they're gone. Like in a sense, like, okay, now that they're asleep, okay, let's clean this up. Let's, prepare for the things that they need to bring tomorrow and things like that. Then by the time I'm done, Jerry's already done. So I'm like, oh, there goes my upper room.
Yeah.
I will want to prioritize like doing that first and then doing the rest later. It's like, so the moment everyone goes in the room, I'll be like, okay,
Bye.
Yeah. I should stop the other things first and then spend time with God first.
Yeah. Saying like, yeah, we both come from the same issue about always doing on commute. But actually, what you said, Pet, really actually convicted me that me using that traveling time to talk with God, is it the best I could give to God? Like it feels like it is like what you said, that it's leftover energy, it's leftover
It's
time,
convenience.
Yeah.
right? Is that really the best I could give to God? And so yeah, actually what you said really convicted me, and so now same like the obvious answer is that I need to make my one-on-one time with God more intentional, I guess. And yeah, don't give him the leftover time,
scraps.
scrap time.
Yeah.
I need to like dedicate time, like as like a proper offering. It's like, I feel like it's almost like the Cain and Abel,
Yeah.
I'm just getting like, okay, just okay, this is yours. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least I'm giving something,
Yeah. So that, and we can't have the attitude with God. Like, at least I'm giving him some time, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think for
Same.
I would say like how my mom spent time with the Lord really impacted the way I spend time with the Lord. Just because every time when it's her time with Jesus, she would close the door. No one bother her, please. We all know like kids don't go knocking on the door unless it's an emergency, unless the house is on fire, because mommy is reading her Bible and praying. So in that sense, like especially in COVID, right? I guess the whole house is myself, but I made sure that I didn't do any work in my room. That my room was like the altar, the upper room for me, my bedroom, like my own like bedroom. But now that parents are back, then I can't exactly have that luxury anymore, so I have to do work in my room. But anyways, to have that time in my room, like, okay, this is my upper room, like, and to again not give the Lord leftover time, but like, okay, my prime time. And sometimes my prime time actually is at 10 p.m. Or 10:30, that kind of thing. So yeah, I think just recognizing, hey, am I giving the Lord leftover time, or am I giving him like my prime time?
That's so good.
Yeah. Cool. Anyways, well, we're believing that this year is going to be a year of revival, that we'll see things happen. And yeah, so let's have that upper room in our lives and continue to see God. And you know what? Who knows how he's going to move?
Amen.
Who knows? All right. It's going to be a good year, guys. We'll see you in the next grind. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.